Salad. Yes, as it turns out, Salamangreat Raging Phoenix isn't actually just a Snake Eye card. It turns out it has its own archetype. I know, I was shocked as well when I found out. But basically, this archetype just got one hell of a buff. This new support took an archetype that was basically forgotten about and turned it into an actual contender. This has been getting multiple tops in both the TCG and the OCG, including a third place in an 8,000 player YCS, which is, you know, fairly impressive. So I'm basically here to show you a deck list, then show you a bunch of combos so you can pick it up yourself, take it onto the ranked ladder, because it is a hell of a lot of fun to play. So here's today's deck list. But before we jump into the deck list, apparently 40% of people watching this aren't even subscribed to the channel. So if you guys are new around here and find yourself enjoying this kind of content and think you might want to see some more videos from me in the future, please do remember to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel down below. Alright, let's jump into this deck list. Alright, so what exactly is new in Salad? Well, this deck list got 4 brand new cards to play with, starting off with your Salamangreat Fire. This thing with his normal special summon can add a level 4 lower Salamangreat monster from your deck to your hand, but keep in mind you're locked into fire monsters for the rest of the turn, which doesn't really matter for this deck list considering our entire extra deck is basically just fire monsters. Alright, next up we have your Weasel. If you have 2 or more Salamangreat monsters in your graveyard, you can summon this thing straight from your hand. If a Salamangreat Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link monster is special summoned to your field while this card's in the graveyard, you can target a Sard monster in your graveyard, place this card on the bottom of the deck, and summon that card to your opponent's field to draw 1 card. This is very important as it gives your opponent a monster, which triggers things like your Promethean Princess. It also draws you a card, and it can put a monster in a tap position on your opponent's field to beat into as well. Alright, next up we have your Salamangreat Raging Phoenix. Alright, this thing takes 2 fire effect monsters. If this card is link summoned using a Salamangreat Raging Phoenix as material, you can add 1 Salamangreat card from your deck to your hand. Very important for turn 1, as obviously you can search for things like your Roars or your Rage. Alright. If a face-up fire monster you control is destroyed, battle, or card effect, while this card's in your graveyard, you can target one of those monsters, special summon this card. If you do, this card gains attack equal to the monster's attack. So obviously a very powerful combo with Promethean Princess, considering you can pop this card using Promethean Princess, Promethean will summon itself back to the field, this thing will also summon itself back to the field, and it will gain a bunch of attack as well. And considering you can give your opponent a monster like I said earlier with the Weasel, you can freely trigger this thing whenever you want to just bring back this monster, bring back the Phoenix, have a billion attack, and just lethal your opponent super easily. Alright, and the final new addition is your Code of the Soul. If you control a Link monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. During your main phase, you can activate this effect. Once per turn, if you Link summon a Salamangreat Link monster, you can use 1 Salamangreat Link monster you control with the same name as the entire material. So basically just what your field spell does, but this card can do the same thing. During your opponent's main phase as a quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Immediately after this effect resolves, Link summon 1 Link 3 or higher Cyberburst Link monster. So very important because you can put this thing in the graveyard and use it as disruption during your opponent's turn, as you can basically summon out a copy of your Salamangreat Pyro Phoenix during your opponent's turn, and this card, if it's link summoned using a Pyro Phoenix, it just destroys all cards your opponent controls. So the idea is, get this thing on the field, then during your opponent's turn, use this thing in the graveyard to link summon another copy of this, using itself as material to nuke your opponent's entire field. As for the rest of the cards in this deck list, it's all just your stock standard Salamangreat cards, then a buttload of hand traps and other tech cards, so not too much else to talk about with the deck list. So without further ado, let me show you some combos showing off just what this deck list can do now. Alright, so today I've got 3 combos to share with you guys. The first 2 combos are going to be very simple 1-card combos, and the third one's going to be an extension of one of those combos that leads to a pretty formidable end field. Now obviously there's more sort of combos and advanced things you can learn about this deck list, but honestly once you know these 3 combos, you can take this deck list straight onto the ranked ladder and you'll have a very good time with it, as especially considering going second, your main game plan is just to hand trap your opponent to death. If you know some solid turn 1 setups, which is what I'm going to show you, you can play this deck list completely fine the ranked ladder, and you'll probably climb very easily with it. So let's get into it. Alright, so to start with, your first combo is just going to be a 1-card combo using Salamangreat Fire. Now, as per usual with all my combo tutorials, pretend the rest of my hand is just complete and utter bricks, maybe all these just Ash Blossoms or Maxx or something, and just focus on just the fire. Alright, so normal summon out your fire, activating the effect. This will search for a monster from your deck list, grabbing the Gazelle. Alright, now to get the Gazelle on the field, we're going to go into a Link 1, putting the Salamangreat Fire in the graveyard. This will get you your field spell, and you can use the Gazelle in hand to summon itself to the field. Alright, Gazelle summoning, sending a card to the graveyard, and Balelynx adding a card to the hand. And the card we're going to send to the graveyard is going to be your Spinny. Alright, now we're going to resummon the Spinny, putting it on the field. And these there's 2 level 3s to go into your Mirage. Alright, Mirage going to then detach to search from your deck list. Doesn't matter what you detach because you're going to be link summoning using these 2 anyway. And we're going to summon out a copy of your Weasel, putting that on the field. Alright, make sure not to summon the Weasel to this zone, and you'll see why in a second. Alright, these 2 can now become your Sunlight Wolf. Triggering the effect of your Gazelle to return a card to hand, and we're actually going to return the Weasel. That way we can summon the Weasel below the Sunlight Wolf, and we can add back follow-up for future turns, which is of course going to be the Gazelle. Alright, now from here we can go into a copy of your Promethean Princess, which then summons back a monster from the graveyard. Doesn't matter what you summon, because you're just going to blink it off anyway, so just summon back anything. I normally just going to summon back this fire over here. And then we're going to summon out a very, very good looking animation. This might be my favorite animation in Master Duel, actually, so check this out. This looks really cool. Alright, so slamming this on the field. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a great animation. Alright, not going to use the Weasel just yet, because we can use that to chain block in a second. Activating the field spell. And now we can summon out an extra copy of your Link monster. Alright. Now we can use the effect of the search from the Salamangreat Raging Phoenix. And then chain block it using the Weasel, which also puts a card on your opponent's field, so you get to draw a card as well. Alright, just going to give my opponent a copy of this level 1. Doesn't really matter what you give your opponent because you're going to destroy it in a second anyway. And we're going to search for a copy of... Normally you'd search for a copy of Roar, but I actually already have it in hand. So we're going to grab a copy of Rage instead. Either one of these trap cards is fine, but normally you grab Roar. Alright, activate the effect of the Promethean Graveyard to pop the 2 cards on the field. This way your opponent doesn't get left with a monster to use for whatever he wants to go for. Alright. Phoenix can then summon itself back to the field. Then you can use these 2 to go into a copy of another Raging Phoenix. Alright. And that is basically going to be your end field. You set whichever trap card you searched for, and you'll notice this hand is actually bigger than the original hand we started with. You got your Negate on field, got a Promethean in graveyard, and yeah, that's basically your end field. Alright, on to the second combo. Once again, a simple 1-card combo, this time using a single copy of Gazelle. And honestly, this combo is going to look very similar to the first one, it just starts differently. Alright, so normal summoning your Gazelle. This will send your Spinny to the graveyard. Alright, dumping your Spinny. Now we can use the effect of the Spinny to summon itself back to the field, to give you your 2 level 3s to go into your Mirage. Alright. Placing the Mirage on the field. Then we can use the effect of the Mirage to detach any material, doesn't matter which, to summon a copy of your Fire from the deck, putting that on the field. Fire's effect can search for your Weasel. Now we can go into your Balelynx, searching out your field spell for later on. which we already had in our hand. I got a bit confused there for a second. Normally you'd search for your field spell there. Alright, now we can go into a copy of your Sunlight Wolf, using these two on the field. Alright, now we can use the effect of the Weasel in hand to summon itself to the field. And now it looks exactly like the same as the first combo. So using the Sunlight Wolf to add back the Gazelle for extension on the following turn. These two can now become your Promethean Princess. Activating the effect to revive. Doesn't matter what you revive, just put something on the field. These two become your Link 4. Summoning out your big Link 4. Once again going through the fantastic animation. Alright. Now we can activate the field spell. Resummon out your Link 4. Getting the same animation again. Then we can use the effect to search from your deck, special summon to your opponent's field to draw a card. Alright, summoning slates to your opponent's field, doesn't really matter what. Alright, special summoning to our opponent's field, drawing a card. Alright, adding one of the trap cards to hand, normally your Roar. Triggering the Promethean to clear up the field. Summoning back that Promethean. Activating the effect of the Raging Phoenix to resummon itself to the field. And once again, ending on the exact same end field as before, where you have a buttload of cards in hand. Gonna have your Link monster set on the field ready to go, and you're gonna have your Roar face down, ready to negate whatever you need to negate. And of course, the Promethean Princess in the graveyard, and whatever other hand traps you have in your hand, ready to disrupt your opponent. Alright, onto your final combo. This combo is going to need a copy of Gazelle, plus a copy of your Spinny. So I'm going to use my Cynet Mining here to search for one. Discarding my Crossout, and grabbing my Spinny, wherever it is. Add Spinny to hand. Alright, and this field's going to look really good. It's why I play so many copies of Spinny, because if you can set up this field, it is really, really formidable. So let's get into it. Alright, so normal summoning out your Spinny. Now you can make your Balelynx to, of course, summon the Gazelle from hand and grab your field spell. Alright. Balelynx is going to be searching for your field spell. Gazelle going to be special summoning itself. Alright. Now we can use the Gazelle to send a copy of your trap card to the graveyard, because we actually already had access to Spinny, so we're going to send the Roar to the graveyard. Alright, grabbing your Spinny that you put in the graveyard earlier, so you have the two level 3s to make your Mirage. And Mirage, once again, going to be summoning out a copy of your Fire. Detaching whatever, doesn't matter. Grabbing your Fire, putting it on the field. Using Fire's effect. Searching for a copy of your Weasel. Alright, these two are going to become your Sunlight Wolf. Then we can summon the Weasel to the field below the Sunlight Wolf to add back the Gazelle for the following turn. Special summoning the Weasel, triggering the effect of the Sunlight Wolf, adding back the Gazelle for the following turn. Alright, now we're going to go into the Promethean Princess, making sure not to use the Weasel, because we need to use that in a second. So using this card over here, and your Sunlight Wolf. Making your Promethean. Then using the effect of Promethean to revive specifically a level 3, so your Spinny. Alright, now you have a level 3 on the field and a level 3 tuner monster on the field, so you can go into your Brotherhood of the Fire Fist, which I've forgotten the end of this card's name. Fire Fist Horse Prince, that's it. Alright, now we can use Horse Prince's effect to summon out a copy of your Code of the Soul. Special summoning that to the field. Activating the effect so we can use it to use one of your Link monsters to link on top of it without the field spell on the field. Alright. Then we go into a copy of your Salad monster, your big Link monster. Alright, now we can Link summon again, even without the field spell on the field. Alright, now we can trigger all 3 of these effects. So we're going to use the Surge effect first, so we can chain block it, then use the other 2, doesn't really matter what order you use these 2 in. Alright, so you give your opponent a monster, this will give you an extra card draw, set the Roar on the field, and of course, search your deck. So giving your opponent a monster, drawing a card, setting the Roar on the field, and now you can search for your other trap card as well. Alright, activating the effect of the Promethean, popping this card on the field, popping your opponent's monster. Promethean resummons itself. Alright, triggering the effect of the Phoenix in the graveyard to summon back itself to the field. Then we're going to activate the field spell. Got that card, this one. Use these 2 to become a copy of your Salamangreat Pyro Phoenix. Alright. And that is going to be your end field. We're going to have your counter trap on field for a negate. We have your Rage on field to pop a bunch of your opponent's cards. We have your Promethean Princess in the graveyard. And of course, we have the Pyro Phoenix on the field, which during your opponent's turn, you can use your Code of the Soul in the graveyard to link summon on top of it another Pyro Phoenix to nuke your opponent's entire field. In fact, hopefully I can show you against this bot over here. Hopefully he'll summon something that I can blow up on the field. Alright. Wait for our opponent to do something that we can blow up. Activate the effect of the... Actually, see if he sets anything. Alright, activate the effect of the Code of the Soul on the field, or in the graveyard. So then link summon out another Pyro on top of itself, which is of course going to nuke all of our opponent's entire field. Activate the effect, and kaboom. So on top of having all this disruption already, you've also got a board nuke as well. So a very, very solid end field. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this little combo tutorial. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel down below. And yeah, take this deck list straight onto the ranked ladder. You'll have a very good time with it. It's a very fun art type, so yeah, go give it a go. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.